Hello everyone, welcome to Bioexplaining. This is the fifth part of this topic, sexual reproduction in flowering plants. And in this video, we are going to discuss about the seed, the fruit, and the concept of apomixis and parthenocarpy. So let's begin. Okay, so in our previous video, we have discussed about the development of the endosperm and the development of the embryo in details, right? So what we can say is the seed is, you can say it is the final product of sexual reproduction, right? The seed is the final product of sexual reproduction. That means after fertilization is done, after double fertilization is done, in case of angiosperms, what happens is the zygote is formed, which becomes the embryo, and the endosperm is also formed. So then finally the seed formation takes place. So hence this can be called to be the final product of sexual reproduction. So what is the seed? Like from which part does the seed come from? It is the fertilized ovules. After fertilization, the ovules which are present inside the ovary of the female reproductive part, that becomes the seed, right? Now, there are basically three major parts to a seed. What are they? Whether it is your monocot, whether it is your dicot seed, whatever, there are three major parts which are present. What are the three parts? One is seed coat. Second क्या है? Second है cotyledons and third है embryo axis. So just have a look at this diagram. You'll be able to find that in both the dicot and the monocot, these three parts are more or less present. ठीक है? Next क्या है कि let's start discussing about the cotyledons. Now what are the cotyledons? So these are certain kind of swollen structures which have stored food in them, right? So when the seed is developing, while it's growing or it has to germinate, it requires a food reserve. It requires a source of food. So वो source क्या है? That is the cotyledon. The cotyledon is swollen, matlab it's thick because of the food inside that it stores. ठीक है? Examples legumes में ऐसे you can find. Now, depending on the presence or absence of the endosperm, seeds can be categorized into two types. What are they? One is albuminous, another is non-albuminous or X-albuminous. ठीक है? तो albuminous क्या है? Albuminous is a part of the endosperm is retained. तो हम लोगों ने लास्ट वीडियो में क्या पढ़ा था? We studied that कि कुछ सीड्स में ऐसे होता है कि एंडोस्पर्म is completely used up for the embryo formation. In some seeds क्या होता है? The endosperm, some part is retained. तो the seeds where some part is retained, ये सब seeds क्या है? They are albuminous seeds, right? For example, you will get it in wheat, you'll get it in maize, castor, etc. On the other hand, ये non-albuminous या X-albuminous क्या है? ये सब seeds में endosperm completely use हो चुका है. There is no residue. There is no residual endosperm present. ठीक है? Examples: pea, groundnut, etc. Good to go. कुछ seeds में ऐसे भी मिलता है that some part of the nucellus is also present as a remnant, right? Endosperm तो हम लोगों ने देख लिया है कि in some seeds it will be present, it will be retained. In some seeds it has been completely used up. लेकिन nucellus के बारे में क्या है कि for the nucellus also some part might be retained in certain seeds like beet, like black pepper. So in that case, what you called it to be, that is known as the perisperm. Okay, so remnant of the nucellus is known as the perisperm. Clear? तो हम लोगों ने क्या देखा अब तक? Till now we have seen कि fertilization के बाद ovary and ovules, what will they change into? Ovary has become the fruit, and ovules have become the seeds. तो हम लोग fruit को क्या कह सकते हैं? Fruit is the fertilized ovary, seed is the fertilized ovule, right? Seeds are the fertilized ovules. And ओव्यूल्स के जो इंटीग्यूमेंट्स है, राइट, इंटीग्यूमेंट्स मतलब जो आउटर कवरिंग है ऑफ द ओव्यूल्स, व्हाट विल दे चेंज इनटू? दे विल चेंज इनटू द सीड कोट. ओव्यूल्स अगर सीड हो जाता है तो ओव्यूल्स के कवरिंग सीड के कवरिंग बन जाता है, इट बिकम्स द सीड कोट, राइट. बट micropyle जो था, remember what is the micropyle? The micropyle was that one place via which the pollen tube was entering inside the embryo sac. Remember? So that micropyle that still remains as this small pore in the seed coat, right? मतलब वो opening था, वो अभी भी seed में भी opening ही है, right? ठीक है. But why? क्यों? क्या purpose है? Why do we again need that opening or pore in the seed coat? Because the seed needs entry of water. The seed needs entry of oxygen. Diffusion of gases need to happen, right? So oxygen and water need to enter. So because there is some point required for water to enter mainly, also oxygen to enter, for the germination of the seed, for the seed to develop further. That is why the micropyle is still present as a small hole in the seed coat. ठीक है? तो अब क्या है कि as the seed starts to grow, as it starts to develop, the water content reduces, right? Because a lot of water, a lot of those nutrients are being used up, the water content reduces, or we can say that the water content decreases. So if the water content decreases, तो हम लोग क्या कह सकते हैं कि the seed becomes dry, comparatively it becomes dry, right? Lack of water or decrease in water content makes the seeds dry. So if water is reducing, if less of water is present, what will happen? The general metabolic activity of the embryo will reduce. What is the meaning? Ki as sufficient water is present, now a lot of metabolic activities will take place, right? That is, different compounds will be formed, different compounds will be broken down, a lot of processes will keep on happening inside the embryo. But as the water content will decrease, so what will happen? This metabolic activities rate will also decrease, right? Okay, so when this decreased rate is achieved, क्या कहते हैं हम इस स्टेज को? इसे कहा जाता है dormancy या तो inactive state, right? So हम किस चीज को dormant कब कहते हैं? When it is not very much functional, not very much active. So इसे हम लोग क्या कहते हैं? We can call it to be less functional. Okay, that means not much of activities or processes are taking place inside the embryo right now. This is known as the dormant condition of the seed. Understandable? Now, so ऐसे dormant condition में the seed stays कि when the water is less. Now suppose you put the seed, you plant the seed, you sow the seed in the soil and you're regularly watering it, or by natural means also, seed को the seed has gone somewhere, it's there and there's a lot of rain, तो seed को पानी मिल रहा है, the seed is getting water, right? Now when it is getting water, क्या होगा? फिर से metabolic activity will increase. क्या देखा हम लोगों ने कि when water is less, metabolic activity of the embryo is reducing. If water is present, metabolic activity will go up. So this is what we mean when we say only if favorable conditions are present, matlab correct amount of moisture, correct amount of water is present, proper temperature conditions are present and all, now your seed will start to germinate. तुम इतने सारे seeds को घर में ऐसे box में बंद करके रख दोगे, they will never germinate. Only when you put it to the soil, put water regularly, take care of it, then it will germinate, right? घर में बॉक्स में बंद करके रख दोगे तो क्या स्टेट में वो रहेगा? The seed will be in the dormant condition, right? Now, talking about the parts of a fruit. So, what are the different parts of a fruit? First thing is the epicarp. What is the epicarp? It is the absolutely outermost layer of the fruit wall, right? Then the second layer is the mesocarp or the mesocarp. So that is usually the fleshy and the edible part. Consider a mango. The part that you eat, that is your mesocarp. The part that you peel out, that is the epicarp. And inside the mesocarp, what do you have? You have the third layer of the fruit wall, which is the endocarp. Endo means innermost, right? So it is the inner stony wall. So these three layers, the epicarp, mesocarp, endocarp, ये तीनों मिलाके क्या होता है? This forms the pericarp, which is known as the fruit wall. ठीक है? Apart from the pericarp, और क्या क्या है? Important part is the embryo. So the embryo is the baby plant. So embryo will further grow into the entire plant. Then embryo को foods reserve देने वाला कौन है? That is the endosperm, which contains the reserved food, contains the nutrients कि embryo को it will provide. And then you have the seed, like these are all parts of the seed, the embryo, endosperm, these are all parts of the seed. And seed के जो coat है, that is the seed coat or the covering of the seed, whatever you call it to. So the coat of the ovule, the integument of the ovule has now become the seed coat. ठीक है? Fruits are also of two types based on whether they are soft or whether they are not. The edible part, if it is soft or if it is not. So first is fleshy fruits. What are fleshy fruits? Fruits which have this soft texture of the edible part. So these are orange, mango, etc. कि pulp जिसे हम कहते हैं वो एकदम soft है. Other example or I mean the other category is the dry fruit. तो ड्राई फ्रूट्स क्या क्या है? फॉर एग्जाम्पल ग्राउंड नट, मस्टर्ड एक्सेट्रा, जिसमें वो सॉफ्ट टेक्सचर नहीं आता है. ठीक है? तो फ्रूट्स आर ऑफ टू कैटेगरीज. वन इज फ्लेशी फ्रूट, अनदर इज ड्राई फ्रूट बेस्ड ऑन द टेक्सचर ऑफ द एडिबल पार्ट. This is one categorization. Done. Another categorization is on the basis of from where the fruit is formed. नॉर्मल हम लोगों ने क्या पढ़ा अभी तक कि सेक्सुअल रिप्रोडक्शन में ओवरी आफ्टर फर्टिलाइजेशन फ्रूट बन जाएगा. दैट मीन्स फ्रूट इज फर्टिलाइज्ड ओवरी, राइट? तो वो नॉर्मल केस है. बट इफ द फ्रूट इज फॉर्म्ड फ्रॉम द थैलेमस, कि थैलेमस से, थैलेमस क्या है? इफ यू रिमेंबर, थैलेमस इज नथिंग बट द रिसेप्टिकल, द पार्ट ऑन विच all the floral parts are born. So thalamus से अगर फ्रूट बनता है तो उस टाइप के फ्रूट्स को हम लोग क्या बोलेंगे? उसको बोलेंगे false fruits, right? For example, strawberry, apples, all these things. And normal case जो है, मतलब ovary से fruit, if it is formed, if fruit is the fertilized ovary, usual, then you call it to be a true fruit. ठीक है? So on the basis कि from where it is formed, fruits are of two types, false fruits and true fruits. Done? Okay, so just now as I spoke about false fruits, so just look into these diagrams to understand it better. So ये first one क्या है? First one, as you can understand, is apple. Second B or number 2 diagram, as you can understand, is क्या? Strawberry, right? So apple में क्या है? If you look properly, you see that the seed is present in the middle. Then after that the endocarp, the mesocarp is there. And the part which is edible, like the part which you eat in the apple, वो क्या है? This is the thalamus. Okay, this is the thalamus. So the fruit is formed from the thalamus. In case of the strawberry, what is present? Again, this part, the central part which is marked, this is once again the thalamus only. While this B part, the outside red part, that part, what is that? This is the achene. What is it? This is the achene. So what do we say? We say that strawberry क्या है? Strawberry है accessory fruit. ठीक है? Strawberry को accessory fruit या false fruit कहा जाता है. That means what is it? It is nothing but it is an aggregate of achenes. It is an aggregate of achenes. और ये achenes क्या है? These achenes are true fruits with the seeds. ठीक है? Achenes are true fruits which contain the seeds. Understandable properly? Which contain the seeds. ठीक है? तो normally हम लोगों ने क्या देखा कि ovary is present, fertilization is happening, fruit is getting formed. Fruit is being formed from the ovary due to fertilization. But if fruits are formed without fertilization, that is known as parthenocarpy. That is, without fertilization, a fruit is formed. So such kind of fruits that are formed without fertilization are known as parthenocarpic fruits. क्या कहते हैं? Parthenocarpic fruits, right? And a very good example of this is banana, right? Now, ये parthenocarpy induce कौन करता है? What can induce parthenocarpy? Parthenocarpy is usually induced with the help of plant growth hormones. Okay. It is induced by plant growth hormones, or which are also known as phytohormones. So there are a lot of phytohormones, out of which auxins and gibberellins are the major ones to induce parthenocarpy. Right? In a lot of cases, you will find that cytokinins also help in it. Cytokinins might also induce this. Right? So auxin, gibberellins are the major phytohormones, and cytokinins can also induce parthenocarpy. So because there is no fertilization, that means what is happening? There is no seed formation also. Fertilization leads to the formation of the seeds from the ovules. So if no fertilization happens, no seeds are present. So hence, these fruits are also known as seedless fruits. Okay. Now, let us understand कि angiosperms में what are the several advantages of the seed. Okay. So one by one, let's see. What is the first thing? First thing is that कि pollination, fertilization, ये जो processes है, angiosperms में क्या होता है? Usually, these are independent of water, right? कि pollination will occur with the help of insects, with the help of birds, with the help of wind and all these things. So again, fertilization happens within the female part of the flower. So most of it, they are independent of water. But this seed formation में क्या है? That we need water for the seed to get germinated properly. कि when water is not present, the seed will be dormant, but it will not get wasted. So as long as water is not present, the metabolic activities of the embryo reduces. अभी देखा है ना पिछले कुछ slides में कि water is less, meaning metabolic activities inside the embryo are also less. तो क्या होता है? Seed is in the dormant stage. As soon as favorable conditions are back, कि correct amount of moisture, temperature, ये सब मिल गया, now the seed will start to germinate properly. Okay. Second, seeds have better adaptive strategies for dispersal to new habitats and help the species to colonize in other areas. मतलब suppose in region X, suppose ये है एक region X, यहाँ पे एक certain type of seeds है, right? दूसरे type of region है Y, where this type of plant is not at all present. Okay, so what will happen is, say seeds or plants are present here. Now by some means these seeds get dispersed here. So if they fall into the Y region, so what will happen? Within a year or two, this type of plant will also grow in that different Y region. Right? So they have adaptive strategies for dispersal to new habitats. So this species which was present only in X and not in Y, that plant species can now also go to Y. Okay. Next क्या है कि as they have sufficient food reserve, seeds के पास enough of food reserve nutrients रहता है. So young seedlings are nourished very properly. Like initially, क्या है, when all the green parts are not out properly, photosynthesis will not happen. Right? Photosynthesis नहीं होगा. So how will they prepare their food? They will continue their life processes with the help of जितना भी food reserved है with that. Okay. Next, the hard seed coat provides protection to the young embryo. कि young embryo को हम लोग क्या कहते हैं? This young embryo, this is known as the little plant. Right, the baby plant. We call it to be. This in the future will become the proper full plant. So the hard seed coat which is present, right, that provides protection to the young embryo. Then, because these are products of sexual reproduction, what will they do? They generate new genetic combinations. Because they are sexual reproduction products, as in the pollens are coming from a certain plant. The stigma belongs to a certain plant. So, right, so this way, because of sexual reproduction, there is mixing of gametes that's occurring. So sexual characters get mixed. So new characters can be, new characters can come. New genetic combinations giving rise to new characters. As a result, हम लोग क्या कहते हैं कि it gives rise to variations. Right? That means plants with new characters can be got. Is it proper? Seeds is the basis of our agriculture. Ki the farmer will take the seed, plant it in the soil, provide water, rainfall will naturally irrigate the soil. Then with further care, the seeds will form various types of crops. So agriculture is absolutely dependent on the seeds. Next, dehydration and dormancy of mature seeds are crucial for storage of seeds. Like say this year, I have got, for example, in my field, I have 5 kg of seeds. But I do not have the means, or this is not the right time to plant those kind of seeds. So what will I do? I'll wait for 1 year. I'll wait for 1 year, and now when I get favorable conditions, now I will plant those seeds. So have my seeds got wasted? नहीं ना, because seeds are क्या state में है वो? Dormant state में है. That means metabolic activities बहुत कम है. But still they have the potential कि whenever you plant them, they get there एकदम correct conditions, temperature, moisture जो भी हो. What will they do? They'll start germinating. ठीक है? So because of this dehydration, that means lack or lesser water content, and dormancy, that means reduced metabolic rate. In case of mature seeds, this is crucial so that things can be properly stored. The seeds can be stored and they can be used as food throughout the year. Okay. Now, let us start talking about the viability of seeds. So, what is viability of seeds? मतलब कि how long are the seeds viable? Right? What do you mean when I say viable? Viable meaning is that how long the seeds have the potential to germinate. How long do the seeds have the ability या तो potential to germinate when favorable conditions are present. So this is, very much different in case of different kinds of seeds. The viability period for how long the seeds will be viable. So that means it differs. कुछ seeds में क्या देखा जाता है कि the seeds will lose their viability within a few months. कुछ seeds में ऐसे देखा जाता है कि they will have viability for a few years. कुछ seeds में तो even hundreds of years तक का viability देखा जाता है. That is, there are several records of very very old seeds जो कि अभी तक viable है. That if you plant them, if you sow them and give favorable conditions, then they will still germinate into the plants. तो examples क्या है? जैसे कि the oldest seed which is still viable is that of Lupinus arcticus. So it is excavated from the Arctic tundra region, right? So this seed germinated and flowered after an estimated record of 10,000 years of dormancy. मतलब the seed was viable for around 10,000 years. This is an image of the Lupinus arcticus plant, right? What is another example? Another example is of Phoenix dactylifera. This is the image of Phoenix dactylifera. इसे ना finger palm कहते हैं because the palm looks like a finger. The common name finger palm. So this has 2000 years old seed जो भी viable है. ठीक है? So King Herod's place near the Dead Sea, when that was being excavated, during that time this thing was discovered. Right? तो क्या देखा हम लोगों ने कि viability of seeds can be different for different kind. Some seeds are viable for few months, some for a few years, some for hundreds and thousands of years. And two common examples we have seen hundreds of years के लिए कि 10,000 years of dormancy के बाद भी viable, that is Lupinus arcticus, and 2,000 years के बाद भी viable, that is Phoenix dactylifera. Okay, right. तो हम लोगों ने जो Parthenocarpy we have studied, right? तो difference क्या है? Sexual reproduction से parthenogenesis, what is the difference? जैसे कि sexual reproduction you all know कि meiosis will happen separately in case of the male body and in case of the female body. Then oocyte will be formed in the female, the egg cell. Spermatocyte will be formed, which is the male sperm cell. They are all haploid. Both are haploid. And then what will happen is fertilization will happen. That means these things are going to fuse. So in this case, fertilization will happen and 2N, that is a diploid zygote, will be formed. Right? A diploid zygote is formed. तो diploid zygote से एक entirely diploid individual is formed. ये है normal case, sexual reproduction. ठीक है? अब parthenogenesis क्या चीज है? There are different types. एक है haploid parthenogenesis, जिसमें क्या देखा जाता है कि haploid individual form होगा. एक है diploid parthenogenesis, जिसमें तुम क्या देखोगे? Diploid individual will be formed. ठीक है? Now, haploid parthenogenesis देखो. क्या है इसमें? That meiosis is happening in the organism, and after meiosis is occurring, then the oocyte is formed. तो oocyte क्या हुआ? oocyte हो गया haploid, right? oocyte हो गया haploid. Now oocyte will grow, that it will still be a haploid zygote only. There is no more meiosis happening here. Haploid oocyte will give rise to haploid zygote, and haploid zygote से entire individual भी haploid होगा, right? तो ये हो गया आपका haploid parthenogenesis. Diploid या diploid parthenogenesis में भी two types है, further two types है. One is automixis, one is apomixis. Automixis क्या है कि first meiosis will happen, oocyte is being formed. By now क्या पता चल गया कि oocyte haploid है ना? So then what will happen is this oocyte will undergo what? It will fuse with another oocyte. So when it fuses with another oocyte, then what happens? N and N will give rise to 2N diploid zygote. Or what can happen is this haploid oocyte can undergo chromosome replication. And as soon as वो replicate हो जाता है, तो N becomes 2N again. Right? So that also gives rise to the diploid zygote. So from this diploid zygote, a diploid individual is formed. ये गया automixis. Apomixis या apomixis, whatever you might pronounce. Apomixis is first there will be mitosis. Very carefully note करो, difference है यहाँ पे. First, what is happening? Mitosis. In all these cases क्या देखा हम लोगों ने? Meiosis, meiosis, meiosis. So what are you seeing now? Mitosis is happening. And mitosis is happening, so the female egg cell which is present, ये diploid है. This is not haploid. The egg cell is diploid, right? So this diploid female egg cell gives rise to the diploid egg only. So from this diploid egg, what you get? You get a diploid individual. ठीक है? So in case of parthenogenesis, there is no kind of fertilization which is happening, right? There is no fertilization which is happening. Properly understood? Just doing a recap of apomixis once again. That is, seeds are being formed without fertilization. You have just seen there is without fertilization, seeds are being formed. ठीक है? And example, grasses and Asteraceae species. So this is a kind of asexual reproduction. अभी देखा राइट कि सेक्सुअल में फर्टिलाइजेशन होता है, एसेक्सुअल में कोई फर्टिलाइजेशन नहीं होता है. Okay, that means in this apomixis, your diploid egg cell, that is 2N, is formed without meiosis. कोई reduction division नहीं हुआ है. So this 2N egg cell develops into the embryo. ये खुद भी 2N है, right? That means the zygote itself is 2N. This will give rise to a diploid individual. तो आई गेस दिस इज क्लियर कि सब कुछ यहाँ पे डिप्लॉयड ही है, हैप्लॉयड का कोई सीन है ही नहीं, बिकॉज यहाँ पे मेयोसिस होता ही नहीं है. विदाउट मेयोसिस व्हाट विल हैपन? द सीड फॉर्मेशन विल अकर. ओके, तो क्या होता है कि इन वैरायटीज सच एज साइट्रस फ्रूट्स के बारे में कहो, मैंगो के बारे में कहो, इसमें ना क्या देखा जाता है कि some of the nucellar cells that are surrounding the embryo sac, like I've drawn in this yellow, in the nucellars, some of the nucellar cells that are surrounding the embryo sac, they start dividing. The nucellar cells will divide, ठीक है? And divide करते करते they will protrude into the embryo sac. That means these nucellar cells, they have entered inside the embryo sac, right? तो अभी क्या होगा? Once they enter into the embryo sac, they will start developing into the embryo. They will develop into the embryo. तो इसमें क्या है? If you look very properly, so multiple embryos are present, right? That means एक ही seed में क्या देखने को मिल रहा है कि more than one embryo is present, क्योंकि बहुत से nucellar cells थे जो कि अंदर आ गए. So occurrence of more than one embryo in a seed is happening, and more than one, तो इसे क्या कहते हैं हम लोग? Poly. That means this phenomena is known as polyembryony. Easy, समझ में आया अच्छे से? Once again I'm telling कि citrus fruits या mango में देखने को मिलता है at times कि nucellus में जो cells है, some of the nucellar cells they will divide and enter into the embryo sac. तो एम्ब्रॉयो सैक के अंदर क्या हो जाएगा, मल्टीपल एम्ब्रॉयोज हो जाएगा, विच फिनोमिना इज नोन एज पॉली एम्ब्रॉयनी. आई होप सब कुछ यहां तक क्लियर है. ठीक है. नाउ यू मस्ट बी नोइंग अबाउट हाइब्रिड वैरायटी, राइट, कि टू टाइप्स ऑफ थिंग्स कैन बी फ्यूज्ड इनटू वन. हाइब्रिड वैरायटीज कैन बी फॉर्म्ड. तो बहुत सारे फ्रूट्स वेजिटेबल्स फूड क्रॉप्स जो भी है, hybrid varieties are all available. They are being extensively cultivated, right? Now, so because of these hybrids, क्या है, इनके productivity has increased a lot. मान लो कि एक टाइप है जिसमें बहुत good quality food is formed, crop is formed, लेकिन yield थोड़ा कम है. एंड दूसरा है कि yield बहुत ज्यादा है, quality mediocre है. तो you can create a hybrid out of those two so that quality भी proper, yield भी proper, right? What happens is, problems क्या है कि hybrid तुम्हें हर साल produce करना पड़ेगा, right? Hybrid seeds have to be produced every year. हाँ, तो तुम suppose if you collect the seeds from the hybrids, if the seeds that are collected from the hybrids, if you sow that, तो progeny plants में क्या हो जाएगा, characters will segregate, hybrid characters will not be maintained. If you normally sow the seeds, now that germinates into a plant, then further that undergoes pollination, that undergoes fertilization, तो वो normal sexual reproduction में चला जाएगा. There will be mixing of characters from other plants. तो hybrid character जो आपने create किया, वो क्या हो जाएगा, वो maintained नहीं होगा progeny plants में. What do we mean by progeny plants? That means further generations में. ठीक है ना? So this is a actual problem कि production of hybrid seed costly भी है. तो हर साल farmer, how will the farmer buy the seeds every year and then sow it again, next year he will buy, then sow it. तो ये बहुत costly है, right? It becomes too expensive for the farmers to incur. तो solution क्या है? One suggestible solution is that कि suppose ये hybrids को apomixed बनाया जाए. What are apomixed? Apomixed are produced by apomixis. Apomixis में हम लोगों ने क्या देखा? Apomixis में देखा कि कोई meiosis का फंडा है ही नहीं. The diploid egg cell is forming the diploid zygote, that is leading to the diploid embryo, that is leading to a diploid individual. अगर हम लोग ये सारे hybrids को ही apomix बना दे तो कोई चांस ही नहीं है sexual reproduction के ऊपर डिपेंड करने का. तो no chance of segregation of the characters in the progeny. आपने जो हाइब्रिड कैरेक्टर्स क्रिएट किया है, गुड कैरेक्टर्स, दैट विल कीप ऑन गेटिंग मेंटेन्ड, राइट? तो हर साल व्हाट द फार्मर्स विल डू, नाउ यू यूज द हाइब्रिड सीड्स टू रेज न्यू क्रॉप. हर साल you don't have to buy, right? Because you do not depend on sexual reproduction anymore. You create your fruits, your vegetables, whatever, with the help of apomixis, asexual reproduction, a type of parthenogenesis. Now, because of the importance of apomixis in hybrid seed industry, there is active research going on in different labs all over the world कि apomixis में ये actual genetics क्या है, right? And कैसे हम लोग, how to transfer this apomictic genes into hybrid varieties. Like whatever happens in a living organism is genetically controlled, right? Mostly it is genetically controlled. So apomixis is also surely controlled by some genes. So if we can transfer these genes to hybrid varieties, so they will also become apomixed. Right then, this is it about the chapter sexual reproduction in flowering plants. We have covered it part by part. The entire chapter is done for us. So keep studying. If you have any doubts, please post it in the comment box below. I will surely get back to you. If you like this video, then like, comment, share, and yes, please do not forget to subscribe to my channel Bioexplaining. Thank you. Meet you in the next video. Bye-bye.